She was tied beneath the burning sun. Until a human freed the alien woman. The desert stretched endlessly, an ocean of gold and heat where the horizon shimmered like liquid glass. No wind dared stir. The air was heavy, the kind that clung to lungs and whispered of death. Captain Elias Varron trudged through the dunes, each step sinking deep into the molten sand. His water was almost gone. His ship had gone down 3 days ago, a plume of fire in the sky, leaving him stranded on an alien world he didn't even know the name of. The sun here burned white, cruel and unrelenting, and the only shade was the faint memory of night. He'd walked for miles, searching, hoping for shelter, for life, when he saw something that shouldn't have been there. At first he thought it was a mirage, a shimmer on the horizon, dark against the endless gold. But as he drew closer, the shape resolved into something real. Figure. She was tied to a post, arms stretched high above her head, ropes biting into pale, iridescent skin that shimmered faintly, like moonlight caught in glass. Her hair was white, braided with metallic threads that glinted even under the sun. She was motionless, lips cracked, eyes half-lidded from exhaustion. Elias froze. An alien woman. Around her were symbols carved into the sand, circles and lines scorched black, as if burned by plasma fire. It looked like some kind of ritual. He scanned the area. No guards, no footprints except his own. Whoever had done this had left her to die. "Hey!" he called, voice hoarse. "Can you hear me?" Her head lifted weakly. Her eyes opened, glowing faintly violet, luminous even in daylight. He took a cautious step forward. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said, holding his hands up. "I'm human." My ship crashed nearby. Her gaze followed him as he approached, and when he began cutting at the ropes with his survival knife, she whispered something, soft, trembling, in a language he didn't recognize. "It's okay," he murmured, slicing through the last knot. "You're free." The moment the final rope fell, she collapsed forward into his arms. Her skin was hot, feverish. He laid her gently on the sand, shielding her with his jacket, and poured a few drops of water between her lips. She coughed, swallowed, then whispered again, this time in halting English, words trembling with pain. "They left me for the sun." "Who?" Elias asked. "My kind," she said, eyes closing. "For breaking bond. For saving a human once before." He blinked. "You saved a human." She nodded faintly. "Your soldiers came years ago. One was wounded. I hid him. They found out." Her voice cracked. "They call me traitor." The wind shifted, a faint, uneasy breeze. In the distance, Elias saw movement. Shapes on the horizon, gliding low like dark birds. "We have to move," he said. She stirred, trying to stand, but her legs trembled. Without hesitation, he hoisted her onto his shoulder. Her body was light, but the heat made every step agony. The dunes were endless, but he pressed forward, guided by instinct, by the desperate need to keep her alive. When the sun began to sink, painting the desert blood-red, he found a shallow cave beneath a rock ledge. They collapsed inside, gasping for breath. Elias started a small fire with the fragments of his emergency kit. She sat beside it, silent, her skin glimmering with faint light, like embers beneath glass. "What's your name?" he asked. She looked at him, as if the question itself hurt. "Kilira. I'm Elias." "Elias," she repeated softly, tasting the sound. "You risk much for me." He shrugged. "No one deserves to die tied to a post in the sun." She turned her face toward the firelight. "Among my people, mercy is weakness." "Then maybe your people forgot what strength really means," he said quietly. For a moment, Her lips curved in a faint smile. "You sound like the human I saved." They sat in silence as night fell, the stars above strange and cold. Elias watched her skin pulse faintly with light like bioluminescence, and wondered what kind of world she came from, what kind of people could abandon someone so alive, so human in their own way. Then he heard it, a distant hum. Kalira's eyes snapped open. "They've found us." Outside, lights moved through the dunes, 3 small ships hovering close to the ground. Their engines cast long shadows across the sand. "Stay here," Elias whispered. He grabbed his rifle, the last thing salvaged from his wreck. He crept outside, heart pounding. The ships halted near the cave. Tall figures emerged, armored, gleaming silver under starlight. Their voices carried like low thunder. "Return the exile," one called in a strange dialect, then in broken English. "Human, leave her. You will live." Elias raised his rifle. Not a chance. There was a brief silence, and then the air erupted in light. Plasma bolts seared across the sand, explosions scattering dunes. Elias ducked behind a rock, firing back. He was outnumbered, 3 ships, at least a dozen soldiers, but he refused to move. Behind him, Kalira rose, eyes glowing bright violet. She stepped into the open, lifting her hands. The air shimmered. The sand rose in a cyclone of light and heat, swirling like a storm made of glass. Her voice rang out, a cry that cracked the air itself. The alien soldiers staggered back as energy coiled around her, burning through their armor, disintegrating the nearest ship in a blinding burst. When the storm faded, silence fell again. Only the wind remained. Kalira collapsed, breathing hard. Elias rushed to her side. "You shouldn't have." "I had to," she whispered. "For you." He caught her hand, feeling her pulse, weak but steady. "Then let's make sure it wasn't for nothing. There's a ridge north of here. I saw smoke there earlier. Maybe a settlement." She nodded faintly. "Together then." Together. They walked into the dawn, the burning sun rising once more behind them, but this time it felt different. Not as punishment but as promise. 2 exiles, 1 human, 1 alien, bound not by blood or world, but by a single act of mercy beneath a merciless sky. And somewhere, far beyond the dunes, the universe itself seemed to hold its breath, watching, waiting for what they might become next. The horizon burned gold as the first rays of dawn crept across the dunes. Elias steadied Kalira with 1 arm as they trudged forward, their shadows stretching long across the desert floor. The air was still, the silence after battle almost sacred. Behind them, the wreckage of the alien ships smoldered, metal and sand fused into glass. Kalira's steps faltered. Her glow dimmed, flickering like the last ember of a dying flame. Elias caught her before she fell, kneeling in the sand. "Stay with me," he said urgently. "You're going to make it." Her eyes opened slowly, faint light dancing within them. "You freed me," she whispered. "Not just from the ropes, from what I was." He shook his head. "You saved me too." A small smile curved her lips, weary but full of something unspoken. "If I fall here, bury me where the sun can still touch my face." "You're not dying," he said fiercely, tightening his grip. "We'll find shelter. A new start." For a long moment she looked at him, truly looked, as if memorizing his face. Then she nodded. "Then let's walk." Together they climbed the final ridge. When they reached the top, Elias froze. Below them, stretching out like a miracle, was a valley of green, an oasis shimmering with water and trees. Kalira gasped softly. "Your desert ends." He looked down at her, smiling through the exhaustion. So does yours. They began their descent.